Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the howls of protest coming from putative defendants, targets now, in the Fulton County matter over the four-persons, admittedly bizarre 15-minute PR tour. And we have a big story in the New York Times. They're going to use this to quash the indictment, and isn't this just a terrible situation? And hasn't she, stepped in it and really impaired Fani Willis's prospects for bringing charges? Short answer to all of this, it's just way overblown. Now, the foreperson, we've talked about her. First of all, it's fanciful for her to say I've stuck and hew to the line that the judge asked me to. She's not a great poker player, and she's given all kinds of hints. I think in particular she's left, I would say, zero doubt, but I could hedge a lawyer in a lawyerly way and say 99%. They've recommended the indictment of the former president of the United States, along with some very close associates of his, people with last names like Giuliani, Meadows, Eastman. Those last few are a little speculative, but not the big enchilada here. They have recommended the indictment of Trump. And really, that's the headline. A few months from now, we won't be talking about her, and that the fact that this will be the first ever indictment of a former president, that's really the seismic point. Now, she has done more than just speak to the four corners of those few sections. There's really not much doubt about it, including some fairly bizarre and certainly unhelpful impressions of different witnesses, who's a nice man and a mean man, a suggestion that maybe the DA's office threw an ice cream party for them, which could be an uncool thing to have done that people will point to. But none of it gets anywhere near the sort of howling that's either in the paper or that I must say some of my colleagues seem to be offering on TV with opinions that these are huge headaches, etc. The fact that she said some of these things might, let's say it gets into the water and people in Georgia know it. It will be another little complication in what was already going to be a big complication of picking a jury. But we've said that before. That's true, but the answer will still be, but I can look at just the facts on the law in court and decide honestly. As an attempt to change venue, I can't see it like it prejudices all of Georgia. I don't understand. And as a attempt to quash, that dog doesn't hunt as best I can see. We just have to be prepared for Trump and company to try every maneuver possible. There are crumbs on the judge's mustache. You have to dismiss this case. There's really nothing to do with any kind of valid motion to quash. If you think about it, first, the whole thing isn't even the grand jury, right? It's a special grand jury. It's like a dress rehearsal in a sense. That goes to Fani Willis, who decides what to do, what to recommend to the real grand jury, to whom she recommends it, and they return indictments. The idea that whatever this woman says somehow has made the whole process tainted, it's just completely far-fetched. You get indictments quashed, say, if there's evidence of personal animus by the prosecutor, or great impropriety or whatever, not that a four-person talked. And by the way, she's been discharged, so the whole thing is over. She's permitted to talk. She probably has a First Amendment right to talk. Now, the judge asked, or you can say ordered, when judges ask, you can normally call that an order, her not to reveal things about the testimony, since the grand jury proceedings are secret. I don't even think she's bound by that. Defense people come out of grand juries and talk about it all the time, and she's no longer on the grand jury. So I don't even think it's a violation of her oath. But moreover, most of her chatter, and I do want to be clear, this is not like a welcome little PR tour for the DA's office. They are I'm sure exasperated, but most of her chatter is about, her impressions, completely irrelevant, but not at all the things that even the judge told her to avoid talking about. And again, even if he had, at most, it would be maybe something that, she could bring her in and give her a stern look or whatever, but he lacks any power over her. The whole worry about the due process implications of revealing the names of witnesses doesn't apply to her. She's a private person as opposed to a prosecutor. So really, we'll hear about it. They'll try to make hay of it, but there's not much you can say. She's a little kooky, no doubt about it. This is unorthodox at best, no doubt about it. Some of the things are like her impressions are especially unhelpful, no doubt about it. But really, nothing should be more than a little hiccup in what's already going to be a crazy ride to picking a jury. And again, the headline here, holy crap, they're going to indict the former president, and she reveals it. People are still saying on TV, well, she was careful not to say. I don't see that at all. When, among other things, when they said, well, what about Trump? He said he was totally innocent and exonerated. She rolled her eyes and basically guffawed. She really has made it clear that the indictment has been recommended. And when we just say if it's been recommended, doesn't mean Fani Willis has to do it. But that's the whole point of this special grand jury. They've heard testimony. It was guided by the people in Fani Willis's office. It would be a profound surprise, let's put it that way, if Willis just ignored most of their recommendations, especially this big one. So I see it as quite likely that Fani Willis will seek the indictments of Trump and at least most of the people in his circle. When will she do it remains a pretty big question. I actually think the PR tour puts a little bit of unwelcome pressure on her. She's gotten a lot of mileage out of this imminent thing in terms of kind of freezing the linebackers for a time, but I think we're past any sort of normal definition of imminent. She now says, well, that I meant legally imminent. I have no idea what that means, but what I can infer it means is I need some more time. Supposedly they're still, chewing over which counts to try to bring, which people to try to indict. I got to say it's a little late for that. They should have known that long since, and they should be shoring it up. It is the case that a new grand jury starts meeting next month, and they probably want to wait for that, among other reasons, because if there's ever speedy trial issues in the case, the starting point of that clock is the end of the grand jury. And that grand jury that comes next month, I think, sits for 2 months. So that's a slight advantage that she can point to. So I see the indictments coming soon, but not too soon. But for now, to focus on the foreperson, I just, the headline here is the saber rattling by the putative defendants that we're going to use this to quash the indictment is just that saber is plastic at best. They're not going to be able to do it. They shouldn't be able to do it. And that's the thing to remember. That's headline 2, because headline 1 remains. The foreperson has revealed a huge fact. As long as I'm making clear that fact's been revealed, I'll just say that we will have much more to talk about here. But it is not an uncomplicated matter in our federalist system that a state DA is going to indict a former president. I think there'll be a lot of legal issues to work through, state, federal side, wise, even beyond all the stuff involving a former president. So lots to come there. I'll be back to discuss it. Wanted to mention, if you're liking these videos, to please like and subscribe. We're totally independent, and it helps us a lot if the spirit moves you. But anyway, much more to come in Fulton County, so you can bet I'll be there to explain it. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.